morning and welcome to Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV Big Fox. I'm your host, Frank Acom, and we are broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio this morning. And I am assuming you may know a little bit about what we'll be discussing this morning. So please feel free to write in at any time about President Biden willfully keeping classified information, but unfortunately would come off as an elderly man with poor memory at the trial, as the scathing report reads. The president responding to it yesterday, where some even speculated. We got a first wave. I was not one that speculated this, but saying that maybe he was holding this press conference to resign. Yesterday on the program, I talked about it quite extensively, that is this, as the media started covering the mental decline, and then this report comes out. I remember we were talking about it yesterday before the report comes out. Was that the media signaling, we better make some moves here? We better put the pressure on the powers that be in the Democrat Party to replace the president on the ticket. Now, who would that be? Because even the media has been reluctant to suggest Harris. So this is, let me take a step back. The Biden campaign is defending it, saying there's nothing to see here. The president himself is saying that, though then later having gaffes in his speech. But whose name could you see mentioned? Now, I'm sure Gavin Newsom is chomping at the bit. But is it one of the scenarios, and I know I've mentioned a lot, where they do throw in an outlier, a Michelle Obama, something like that? This is very interesting to watch unfold, because it's coming. What you're watching in real time is a push to try to oust the president from the ticket, in my opinion, because there's just too many examples where the media had to eventually report on it, even though they reluctantly did. And as I said yesterday, watching reports where it said, well, Biden's made these mistakes, but Trump made this mistake 6 months ago. But now you're seeing just a complete reporting. In some cases, I have examples where it's not, but of reporting of this real concern that the American voter has for the president's mental health. So when the mainstream media, who wants to see the Democrats win, when they start reporting on it, it raises red flags to me. Just like I said in the past, that it raises red flags when they say the only way Republicans can win is with Nikki Haley. And I can't say Nevada proved that wrong again last night, because Nikki Haley wasn't on that ticket. But Trump, getting 97% of the vote and beating her in the Virgin Islands. But we'll get to that later on. I'm just kind of setting the scene, because I also should mention that we have two special guests on the program this morning. First up, Jim Griffin. He's going to be telling us about the first annual Pintwood Derby Championship. I did not say that right. Pintwood. It's an adult 21 plus fundraising event for the Five Rivers Council Scouts attending Camp Gordon in 2024. And as an adult, you'll get to race a Pinewood Derby. We'll hear all about it. I won't do a good enough job explaining it. So we'll hear from Jim Griffin in just a little bit. Also, we're going to hear from Georgia Verdier, our good friend Georgia Verdier, the president of the Elmira Corning NAACP. We have a special coming up here on Big Fox very soon, next weekend as a matter of fact. And I'll be telling you more about it in the upcoming week. But on Friday next week at 10:30, right after our news, and then on Sunday at 11 a.m., we're having a very special presentation to celebrate Black History Month. And Georgia Verdier is one of our guests. And while we were talking, she mentioned an event, so I recorded a little segment of it, an event coming up this weekend that I want to promote. It's a quick little blip, but I think you'll find it interesting to hear from Georgia Verdier. So again, we got to take our first break. That's the number on the bottom of the screen. I know a lot of this information coming out in this report isn't surprising, because we've been seeing it daily for almost 4 years. But this one was really stunning in the language that was used by Special Counsel Robert Hur. So we're going to talk about that when we come back. Stay with us. We're just getting started on this Friday morning edition of Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV, Big Fox.
Hi, this is Tom Witzel, owner of Hesselson's in Amara Heights. Purchasing a hot tub is a big investment. Don't just trust anybody. Hesselson's has been locally owned and operated since 1955. Hesselson's has a proven track record for quality spas, service, and customer satisfaction. We want you to compare similar spas and prices as well as dealer backgrounds and reputations. We are confident that in the end, you'll make Hesselson's your first stop and your last stop. Hesselson's are real spa professionals. Remember, it's always fun to poke in the corners at Hesselson's.
Emerald here, and I'm so excited to tell you about my French door air fryer 360, extra large 26 quart capacity. Cook with up to 70% less calories from fat than deep frying. That's a big deal, my friend. 360 degrees of superheated air gives you fast, even cooking. My 10-in-1 French door air fryer 360 grills, air fries, dehydrates, roasts, bakes, broils, proofs, slow cooks, and toasts. This baby does it all. These French doors are a game changer. Look at how easy that is.
Now, find out how you can try Emeril Lagasse's French Door Air Fryer 360 with 3 cooking tiers, fetch tool, air frying rack, and drip tray in your home for 30 days for just $14.99. Order now and you'll also get Emeril's Air Fryer Favorites recipe book. And we'll automatically upgrade you to our bonus cooking kit free. Plus, find out how you can get free shipping. This offer will not last, so call or click now to order.
You're gonna love it.
And we are back, broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio here on Market Street in Corning. I'm your host, Frank Acom. This is Frankly Speaking. Receiving this message from a viewer. You commented yesterday, if Biden stepped down, how would they handle Kamala Harris? Yes, that would be the optics of it. Let me finish with what the viewer said. But Kamala will step down with some kind of personal excuse. Then she will write a book, which the Democrats will buy in huge numbers. That makes her millions. Democrat leadership runs the show. Yes, the powers that be. We saw that Hillary versus Bernie. We've seen it numerous times in the past. If their candidates don't do what they're told, they will ruin them. If they do as they're told, they will be greatly rewarded. Thank you for that message. Yes, I was saying the optics of it, but if she willfully steps down, then yeah, that's obviously a different story. But I don't know with her. And the punishment part is right, because if you look at Cory Booker that time, he was put up as maybe the next president, and then he had the audacity to criticize at that time President Obama, and they turned on him quickly. So I understand your point with that, but there is something to Vice President Harris's ego, even running for president, that maybe. I'm just curious, playing the mind game, if she would step down. I understand what you're saying with the powers that be, but is that where we're headed? Or does Biden see this through? Now, I'm sure by now you've seen what has been said in the report. It is pretty stunning. And, at trial, Mr. Biden would likely present himself to a jury, as he did during our interview, of him as a sympathetic, well-meaning, elderly man with a poor memory. So just playing into what has already been said numerous times, not necessarily by the mainstream media, but just in front of people's eyes, watching for themselves as it played out. Now, former President Trump sees this as a two-tiered justice system. Going to Truth Social, he wrote, "This has now proven to be a two-tiered system of justice, an unconstitutional selective prosecution. The Biden document case is 100 times different and more severe than mine. I did nothing wrong, and I cooperated far more. What Biden did is outrageously criminal. He had 50 years of documents, 50 times more than I had, and willfully retained, in quotes, them. I was covered by the Presidential Records Act. Secret Service was always around, and GSA delivered the documents. Deranged special counsel Jack Smith should drop this case immediately. Election interference." Yes, and there is reports in this Biden, what you could only call as hoarding, really, these documents. But the interesting part of this isn't necessarily that just came out. If that would have been the only shoe that would have dropped, maybe you could save face a little bit, try to twist it, whatever, make up an excuse. But it's when his handlers put President Biden out there for the press conference where the optics got very bad. He got angry. Okay, fine. He got angry. But then later on, quickly after he's trying to defend his mental stability, he screws up the president that he was talking about. It's the president. He was misidentified the Egyptian president as the president of Mexico. I mean, Now, Biden's saying, I've seen headlines since the report was released about my willful retention of documents. These assertions are not only misleading, they're just plain wrong. In addition, I know there's some attention paid to the language in the report about my recollection of events. There's even some reference that I don't remember when my son died. How the hell dare he raise that? Frankly, when I was asked the question, I thought to myself it wasn't any of their, we'll just say, darn business. He cussed a lot. Biden then railed against Her's assessment that he would likely be let off by a jury on the grounds of perceived senility moments before misidentifying the Egyptian president as the president of Mexico. Biden said, I'm well-meaning and I'm an elderly man and I know what the hell I'm doing. He fumed. That's a twist on the language from the report. I've been president and I put this country back on its feet. I don't need his recommendations. My memory is fine. And then when a reporter asked about his memory, this is kind of a funny line. He said, my memory is fine. My memory is so bad, I let you speak. Yeah, wow. Never really taking responsibility, blaming staff on the documents a few times. He also said, having to play the what about, it was in my house. It wasn't out like in Mar-a-Lago in a public place. And none of it was high classified. That's what he said. But in fact, Her's report says 12 documents were determined by authorities to possess information that still is top secret, as was material from 10 handwritten notebooks and 2 note cards left by Biden. We're running a little late because I want to get to our first guest. When we come back, we're going to be talking about this all morning, but I do have some other important stories to get to. Please weigh in at any time. You see that number on the bottom of your screen. This is going to be a very interesting Friday morning edition of Frankly Speaking. But as I said, when we come back, we're going to be talking with Jim Griffin, so stay with us.
Wow, you found it.
I did.
The History of Water Part 6? I've been dying to read this.
I know, honey.
I always wanted that book.
At Culligan, we get that most people don't think about water like we do, and that's okay. You see, when we install one of our high-efficiency water softeners, we're thinking about hard water and limescale buildup, so you can just think about longer-lasting appliances and softer skin and hair. At Culligan, we think about your water, so you don't have to.
Call today to schedule your free water test.
Pan that always sticks. It's so scratched and worn, you can't cook in it.
Hi, Chef Daniel Green here with my new hammered pans from Gotham Steel. This complete 9-piece set is guaranteed to beautify your kitchen like never before. Hammered pans are ultra non-stick and they're even oven safe up to 500 degrees. So bake homemade chicken pot pie or this whole chicken dinner. Use metal beaters straight in the pan for a gourmet souffle that slips right out. Plus the entire set is dishwasher safe and PFOA free.
Get the full 9-piece Gotham Steel hammered set for just 5 payments of $49.99, and we'll even ship it to you free. But order now and we'll drop 1 payment. That's just 4 payments of $49.99. Plus, we'll include this free steamer and strainer, and our 5-piece bakeware set with every pan you'll ever need to make delicious breads, cakes, and desserts. That's a huge 15-piece set with free shipping. Call or click now.
Call 1-800-608-1538 or go to buyhammered.com.
In a few words. Urkel, glasses. Nerd. It pays to know your nerds. If you guys didn't get nerd with me sitting up here on this show, 25 words or less.
Weeknights at 5 and 5:30 on Big Fox.
Caitlin Clark, big time maneuver. She needs no introduction. Hello. She's indescribable. Can you believe this? There are no words. But let me just say this, reigning player of the year, reigning Wood Award winner, first team All-American, and now has her sights set on history as she looks to break the all-time scoring record. Iowa, Nebraska, Sunday.
Welcome back to Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV Big Fox. I'm your host, Frank Akam, and we're broadcasting from the Hesselson studio. And our guest this morning in that studio, Jim Griffin. Jim, thanks so much for being on the program.
Well, thanks for having me, Frank.
You've got a lot going on.
Yeah.
Is that an understatement? Okay. So let's start out. This is a really unique idea. It's called the First Pintwood Derby Championship. I see the flyer here. Tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah. What really started this is I was at a Cub Scout event in the spring, and one of the dads I was talking to, and he said, "Oh yeah, this is our last year in Cub Scouts, and I'm really bummed." I said, "Why? You can go on to Scouts BSA, you know." So, yeah, but there's no Pinewood Derby.
Isn't that funny? It is kind of synonymous with Boy Scouts, right?
It really is. So I said, "What do you think about an adult Pinewood Derby?"
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be great.
That is a good idea.
Some of us took that started running with it, and instead of a Pinewood Derby, this is a Pintwood Derby. This is for adults only, 21 years and older. It's going to be at Carrie's Brew House, March 9th. Yeah. From 6 to 9. And it is a fundraiser. Mm-hmm. And what we're going to do with all the monies that we are going to raise, we are going to add to the campership fund of the council.
Oh, okay.
What's a campership fund?
Yeah.
We have scouts that want to go to camp, but financially can't afford it.
Sure.
I mean, with the demographics in this area, we just can't.
Right.
So what we do is there is a fund that the council puts together, and we take applications, and then we try to divide the money up as best we can to help them, most people. Unfortunately, we run out of money before we run out of people.
Unfortunately, yes.
And so this is an attempt just to increase that funding so we get more kids to camp. I mean,
so it goes to a good cause, and it sounds like it's going to be a blast.
Oh, it's going to be a blast. We're going to have a lot of fun.
So it's win-win.
Yeah, it's a win-win, is right.
I could see the competition getting pretty wild.
It could, yes. We have two different classifications, I guess, if you want to say. One is a stock, which is the regular Pinewood Derby car, just like the Scouts build, the whole bit. The other was modified, which you can do other things if you want to with it. So, but we'll have two different categories, two different runs.
That's fine.
And what we're going to do is we're going to run each car 3 times.
Okay.
We'll take an average time, and then the winner will be the fastest of the 3.
What a great idea. This is such a neat idea. What if someone, though, is watching and said, I wasn't in Boy Scouts, I've never made a Pinewood Derby car before. What would you say to them?
Come ahead.
Okay.
What you do is you can get on our Five Rivers Council website, which is fiveriverspsa.org. Go to March 9th on the calendar, and then there's a link that'll take you right to the registration. Okay. You register. It is a $50 charge. It is a fundraiser. We will give you a car kit that you can build.
Oh, okay.
And all the instructions or everything are in there, and you can come over and have some fun with us.
And now what if someone says, I don't know if I'm going to build a car, but I want to watch. Can they come watch?
Sure.
Okay, good. Because I think it's going to get a little rowdy. I think
it should be fun.
No, I think it's going to be fun.
A lot of fun.
I mean, there's going to be some heated matches. I mean, this is already, when kids are doing it, gets heated.
Oh, gosh.
So you got grown-ups now and having a good time. But if people are coming to watch, or they say, I don't necessarily want to participate, there are sponsorship levels.
Absolutely.
Could you tell us a little bit about those?
Sure. The sponsorships, obviously, we'll take anything.
Right.
I'm equal opportunity acceptor.
Of course.
But we have sponsorships ranging from to $100 up to $500.
Okay.
And this is just going to help defer the cost of this whole thing and add to the campership funds.
Okay.
So we're willing, if you want to make a donation or be a sponsor, again, go to the website, Five Rivers Council, and you can go right through that whole process.
I cannot wait to see some of the pictures from this, because I just have a really good feeling about it. It is Saturday, March 9th. We're going to put it up on the screen after the interview, but it's from 6 to 9. Again, adults, 21 plus. Carrie's Brew House. That's 58 Bridge Street in Corning. Registration fee, just $50 per car entry. But the deadline is March 1st.
Right. We need to get that so we can get foods around and everything.
And you mentioned it, but where can people find out more?
Five Rivers Council, which is fiveriversbsa.org, is the official website for the council.
And how's everything going with the Five Rivers Council?
Actually, pretty good.
Good.
We're keep trying to keep things going for the council, and the Boy Scouts Scouts USA, over the last couple of years since COVID, our membership has fallen off.
Like everything.
Everything has. So what we're trying to do is build membership,
and
this is one way we can do that. In that we can, get kids to camp. If you can get a kid to camp, they're hooked.
Right.
And and if you can get a parent to camp, they're hooked.
Right.
So it's a win-win situation.
You're right. It get people back into the feelings, because COVID, we all changed our lives so much, right? And I know I feel like I have this conversation a lot on this program, but it's almost like you need that kick in the pants to say, let's do some of these things that we used to have a lot of fun doing, like this. I mean, if you were ever a Pinewood Derby Boy Scout and you had that fun experience, this is something you may need to get you back out there.
Well, and also bring your car.
Yeah.
Because we have a vintage class.
Oh, That's a great
so
idea.
Anybody that's already run a car,
yeah,
they can bring that, and we will put you up there.
Oh, what a great idea! Is there someplace people could contact if they want to find out more?
Yep, you can get a hold of me at. I'm gonna get this.
Make sure you get it right.
Get it right. Yeah, it is.
Your email address?
Yeah, my email address is jgriff1@roadrunner.com.
Okay.
And so you can contact me there, or get a hold of the council office.
Okay.
Carl Ziegenfuss, who is the guy that's sort of helping me out as a pro, he can help you there too. But we can get you any information you want. So
now, because you're part of the first annual Pintwood Derby Champion, are you allowed to enter?
I'm going to.
There are no rules. That's the best part about a first annual,
That's
right?
right.
There's no rules.
Right.
Now, I don't say that. I say this jokingly, but unfortunately, probably for you and your schedule, you have other fundraisers coming up.
Yeah, we have a couple other ones coming. The one coming up the earliest is April 27th. It's called the Pigeon Plop.
Okay, everybody kind of has an idea where that's going, I think.
Yeah, if anybody knows cow flop bingo, that's where it's going.
Okay.
What we do is we mark out the parade field, 10-foot squares, and then we shoot 25 clay birds from each corner, and whoever gets the most birds in their section wins that section. And there's 4 or 5 different levels you can go to. And that one you can do right from your home, so you don't even have to go anywhere. Just go online, put your money down, and we will do that.
That's a great idea.
And that's the one's coming now.
And that's in April, you said?
That's April 27th.
And then you have another one.
And the biggest one we do, and this is our 8th year, believe it or not. And we were on the first year with our radio show.
Yeah.
Wow, is this is going to be September 24th.
Yeah.
Painted Post Field and Stream.
Mm-hmm.
It is a sporting clays event. Mm-hmm. And this one is a major fundraiser for us. And with that, you get obviously with the registration, it's a group of 4, team of 4. We have a Stern's chicken dinner. If you've never had Stern's chicken dinner, you're missing something.
Mm-hmm. That's very true.
With it. And then you have a bunch of opportunities to buy raffle tickets for raffle items that are donated throughout the whole community. So,
well, let's do this just because that is far enough away. Why don't we have you back on again, and we'll talk about those in more detail. So, because people right now are so busy building their Pinewood Derby, they're not focused on April and in the future. So let's talk again soon. And thanks for being on the show.
Thank you, Frank. Appreciate it.
All right, we'll be right back with Frankly Speaking. Stay with us.
This right here is confidence in a bottle.
It makes me feel so much more confident than I've ever felt.
They are some of the hottest videos on social media. Those videos claiming to instantly get rid of bags under your eyes. Annette Figueroa is here to tell us why she says this one is for real.
This one is for real, and I'm so excited. We even have a video, and all he uses is a small amount on a clean, dry face. And what it does is it tightens and lifts the appearance of bags underneath your eyes. And I did this to my father. We were at home, so we applied it to his under eye bags, and let me tell you, we were so excited. In under 10 minutes, they visibly disappeared from view, and now it is literally part of both of our daily routines. And not only does it work on the bags, it works on the appearance of crow's feet, fine lines, and wrinkles.
At our $14.95 price, it's the best way to try Plexiderm and see it work after your first application. Your solution is at plexidermtrial.com or call the number on your screen.
Getting your video for a commercial used to be extremely expensive, but not anymore. WYDC TV Big Fox now offers the Twin Tiers amazing aerial video for your business. We do it with our state-of-the-art drone and commercially licensed aerial pilot. Beautiful HD aerial video and pictures custom-made for your commercial. Call or email now to advertise on Big Fox TV and let everyone see your business in a whole new way.
Alden and Missy face off in Book Smarts versus Street Smarts.
I'm not feeling so good. Biohazard! Biohazard!
Young Sheldon.
Weeknights at 6:30 on Big Fox.
Name something with a diamond in it.
Diamondback rattlesnake.
It's in the name. Name a low-calorie food you might make your edible underwear out of.
Salmon.
Watch it weeknights. Share it the next day.
Wild caught Norwegian teriyaki.
Share in the fun. Weeknights on Family Feud.
7 and 7:30 on Big Fox.
back with Frankly Speaking. Thank you again to Jim Griffin for being our guest this morning. Let's get right back to it. We received a message from a viewer. We were talking about the report that came out on President Biden, and this is what, quote, what is being proven. The actual people in charge can write down what he should say, meaning Biden, but they have no control over what Biden actually says or how he says it. I think Sisi would be a good leader of Mexico. LOL. Yes, keep those comments coming in. You see the number on the bottom of your screen. So Biden confused, after he's trying to prove himself, or he gets angry and says, I'm fine, I'm mentally fine, and how dare he, and that type of thing. He then, moments later, confuses the president of Mexico and Egypt, as the viewer just commented on. Mark Lauder wrote, he got the president of Mexico to open the gate for refugees from Gaza. Whoever thought this was a good idea should be fired, meaning having this press conference. I would agree. New Yorker staffer Susan Glazer exclaimed, yeesh, president of Mexico, Sisi, bad for Biden in an appearance meant to dispel concerns about his age. What a year this day has been. Yes, even CNN, and this is what gets the mind racing about what the end game is in all this. Not because the report came out, but like I said yesterday in the program, they were starting to talk about the president's mental stability more and more in the mainstream media. Then this comes out, and now the floodgates have opened. So what is the ultimate end game in this? I guess that's my big question. And I highlight the fact, and maybe we'll get to it later. As a matter of fact, I think I'll have it up on the screen. But they said it's been the best day of the year for Trump. CNN is reporting that. Continuing, though. Oh, and it looks like it went well in the Supreme Court yesterday, too. But when reached for a comment, White House Deputy Press Secretary Andrew Bates referred to a post from the Atlantic staff writer, Yair Rosenberg, saying Biden has gaffed names his entire career. In 2008, he introduced his running mate as the next president of the United States, Barack Obama. He was clearly talking about Egypt, named Sisi, and laid out his policy and the broader issues in detail. Twitter just isn't interested. Wow. Okay. That's the defense. He's made mistakes his whole life. President of the United States never gets names right. Okay. What they're saying at the Post, and I would be curious to your thoughts on this, which is, and this has come from the Post editorial board, Jill Biden and the Democrats committed elder abuse on Joe. Now they must force him to step aside. But when he steps aside, what's next? I know we had the one viewer saying that whoever they want, it doesn't have to be Harris. Interesting. I don't know if I disagree or agree on that. But the former vice president was painfully slow, Hers report notes, with limited precision and recall. And this is an important point that I think is being glanced over, that what he was referring to with that line, Her was referring to, was that was conducted 2017, that conversation. 2017. 3 full years before he ran for president. That's what he was described as painfully slow with limited precision and recall in 2017. What Her has proven is that Joe Biden's cognitive decline is not new, and it certainly wasn't a secret. Jill Biden knew. His aides knew. Heck, James Clyburn, the entire Democrat establishment knew. Yet, terrified that Bernie Sanders would win the nomination and then failed to take down their mortal enemy, Donald Trump, it was a weekend at Bernie's scenario to try to capture some Obama nostalgia. And then you had the benefit of the pandemic lockdown, where he could run his campaign from the basement, and he was tied to a teleprompter, and it worked. That's how they ran the first campaign. That's how they run the country, and that's how they're hoping to do again this year. But what the New York Post boils it down to is this is elder abuse, and it's a fraud on the American people. Her says Biden's memory was worse in 2013 than it was in 2017, which is natural. What will it be like 2 years from now? What will that do to the country? It's time for those same Democrats who lied to get Biden into the White House to tell him that he must step aside before the 25th Amendment is invoked. And I know Claudia Tenney has already written a letter calling, and many on Twitter as well, but writing a letter to, I believe, Garland, saying that the 25th Amendment should be invoked. I'm wondering if I printed out that article just so I could mention it. But it's a humiliation, and it's one that they themselves caused. Jill Biden did this to her husband, his children, his staff, all the people who enabled this charade. This is on them, and Americans won't soon forget it. And I also think whoever they end up picking, I would hope that that sends a message of what happens behind the scenes in politics, and specifically in Washington, and what the Democrat Party has done, that this has been known. The media didn't report on it. It's been, they've begrudgingly reported on it just as of recently, and they tried to tie Trump into it. So this is really a damning report, not just for Biden and for the people around him, but I believe also for the mainstream media. And James Bovard writes, Biden is not fit for president. This is a good point. If he's not fit to prosecute. Special counsel Robert Hur concluded Biden willfully retained and disclosed classified information, which risked serious damage to America's national security. If anyone else did this, they would be federal crimes. But Biden cannot be convicted of a felony that requires a mental state of willfulness, the special counsel decided, apparently because Biden's mind is gone. Joe is little more than a, quote, elderly man with a poor memory, according to the report. He doesn't remember when he was vice president, doesn't remember when his son Beau died. He told his ghostwriter he had classified information, but later claimed to the special counsel he didn't really mean classified. The list goes on and on. The report concludes that Biden, if he were prosecuted for violating the law, his attorney would emphasize these limitations to his recall. But how can, and this is what it all boils down to, but how can Biden be fit for the presidency if is he unfit to prosecute? Congressional Republicans should demand to see the full transcript and video of the special counsel's 5-hour interview with Biden. There were likely other Biden blackouts as bad or worse as those revealed in the report. And really, the American people have a right to know. And when Biden proclaimed I'm the most qualified person in this country to be president of the United States, there was no applause from the White House press corps, some of whose members had wondered if Biden would announce his resignation that night. I mentioned at the beginning of the program. Even Biden's allies were bailing ship. Per the NBC News headline, quote, a nightmare. Special counsel's assessment of Biden's mental fitness triggers Democrat panic. That's on NBC News. There's other examples. CNN's Jeffrey Toobin saying that the only thing people are going to remember about his defense of his mental health is screwing up the president's name or title. Does Biden, and this is why I wrap up this piece, then we'll take another break, but does Biden not even realize he has just been certified mentally incompetent for office? Nixon was famous for asserting, quote, I am not a crook. You all know that saying. Will Biden achieve equal notoriety for proclaiming, I am not mentally incompetent? I mean, there's a very good point there. Or perhaps the proclamation from Thursday's night will be his epitaph. I know what the hell I'm doing. There's a lot more to this. I'm going to show you both sides to it because some have tried to cover it up. I saw some breaking news on this originally just saying, no, he's not going to be in trouble. Trying to cover, so they're not all on the same page yet, but they're attempting to get there. So we'll talk about that when we come back. I promise this isn't the only topic, but this is the big breaking news this morning. Also, of course, if you're just tuning in and not aware, it almost goes without saying, but Trump won Nevada. He also won the Virgin Islands. Virgin Islands, Nikki Haley was on the ballot. He beat her there, and he was pretty much standalone in Nevada, getting 97%. So let's take another short break. We'll be back with Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV, Big Fox.
Isn't your wellness important? Don't you want more energy? Now's the best time to make every day better and relieve those achy muscles and pains than with the Hesselsen's Hot Tub. Hesselsen's has hot tubs in stock and available for immediate delivery with unbelievable savings. Hesselsen's offers 0% interest-free financing for up to 5 full years. Hesselsen's carries the only hot tub brand in the industry with the exclusive freshwater salt system that is eco-friendly and easy to use and only enhances your hot tubbing experience. Come in today and see why your next hot tub should be a Hesselsen's hot tub. And remember, it's always fun to poke in the corners at Hesselsen's.
You need a fan, but they're bulky, awkward, and never put the breeze exactly where you want it. Introducing my fold-away fan from Bell & Howell, the compact cordless fan that unfolds into your own personal wind machine and extends to nearly 4 feet high. Its lightweight portable design makes it easier than ever to have a targeted breeze anywhere. Plus, this Whisper Quiet fan has 3 separate speeds, making personalizing your comfort a breeze. My fold-away fan's rechargeable lithium battery lasts up to 10 hours, and it has enough power to blast a breeze to the other side of this room. Its unique telescoping stand allows you to place it on the floor, so the breeze will reach anywhere with ease. Then the whole thing folds away for easy storage. Get my fold-away fan from Bell & Howell for just 2 payments of $19.99. It comes with the USB cable to make charging fast and easy. My fold-away fan. Call or click now.
Call 1-800-349-4156. That's 1-800-349-4156 or go to myfoldawayfan.com.
It's all types to play Family Feud. The Blunt Mama.
If you knew Steve Harvey was at your door, you'd answer it wearing what?
Nothing.
Nothing.
Weeknights at 7 and 7:30 on Big Fox.
Saturday, the USFL is on Fox. The Memphis Showboats take on the defending champion Birmingham Stallions.
It's unbelievable.
The USFL, Saturday at 7 Eastern on Fox.
It's a new season of Sherry.
Having a good time has always been my #1 goal. I tend to get crazy. At my age, I should not be jumping up and down like that. And if you don't know what I mean, ask your mama. The young ones, y'all like, we don't know what you're talking about. But I promise you, in 30 years, you will.
It's the best time in daytime.
Weekdays at 2 p.m. on Big Fox.
And we are back with Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV Big Fox. Quite a few comments coming in. Again, thank you to everybody going through on this topic and their opinion. I'm trying to... There we go. Frank, it was interesting that Biden said he didn't know what documents his staff was moving around or even where they were stored them. Yes, he did blame his staff a lot, by the way. What he didn't say, and I haven't heard if it was in the report, was how the documents originally got to his office. Neither he or his staff could legally remove them. That's a good point. This is an interesting one that you may see more talks of. If Biden gets any worse, he may end up running from a nursing home instead of his basement. And finally, why is there a double standard? Biden can get away with anything, but Trump is liable for everything. And that's something also I think has been a little overlooked in this. I know the former President Trump commenting on Twitter about the two-tier justice system, but there does seem to be real discrepancies in what Trump has been going through as compared to Biden. And that kind of painted Biden into a corner because he had to suggest yesterday at that press conference that he was mentally fit. So then should he make the argument that I should be prosecuted? I could handle that jury. I'd have no problem. I don't think they want to do that. Speaker Mike Johnson, not the best week for Speaker Johnson, but he said the president's press conference this evening further confirmed on live television that the special counsel what it reported online. This is not fit, or he is not fit to be president. Excuse me, worded a little strange. I think I screwed that up a little bit. But as I mentioned, GOP Representative Claudia Tenney calls to invoke the 25th Amendment to remove Biden from office after the alarming Her report. This is an exclusive for Fox News. Claudia Tenney, right here from New York, is calling for the cabinet to explore the use of the Constitution's 25th Amendment to remove President Biden from office. And isn't that interesting? How many times they said that? Sorry, my itch. How many times they were saying that about Trump, that he should be removed, 25th Amendment, get his cabinet. Hasn't been talks of that in the media. Yes, Claudia Tenney's bringing it up. But have you seen that in the media? Now, Tenney wrote a letter to Attorney General Garland. That's who he did. Is that who I said? Sharing her grave concerns. After concluding that President Biden knowingly and willfully removed, mishandled, and disclosed classified documents repeatedly over a period of decades, Mr. Her, nevertheless, recommended that charges not be brought against him. That is alarming. He recited numerous instances in which President Biden exhibited dramatically compromised mental faculties, and concluded that a jury would be likely to perceive President Biden as a sympathetic and forgetful old man. Tenney said she need not tell you that a selective prosecution is morally, ethically, and legally prohibited. Yes. So good for Claudia Tenney, kind of getting ahead of the curve on that, because there was a lot on Twitter calling for it, but she specifically wrote the letter to Attorney General Garland. The Democrats missed an opportunity by keeping Biden in, writes one viewer. Yes, the anybody but Trump cry has shifted to anybody but Biden. That is a good point. I think people that were on the fence, and that was from a viewer, anybody that was on the fence before saying, boy, this really concerns me, and you'd still see people defending him because they just dislike Trump that much. Now I think you're going to have to see a little bit of walking back of that. And there probably will be in anybody but Biden. There already was a little bit of that coming from certain factions of the Democrat Party. But will that grow? This is, before we go to our next break, this is what I highlighted earlier, but I wanted to give you the full quote. Jeffrey Toobin, anybody remembers his trouble there a while ago, CNN legal, and he still has a job at CNN. Isn't that interesting? Jeffrey Toobin was asked about this. He said, Mexico, where did that come from? That means the gaffe after trying to defend his mental health. I mean, that's the only thing anyone is going to remember from this. You know, he was exonerated here. Okay. And I think it's an easy call that he was exonerated. And I think legally he's never had a problem with this because the issue of criminal intent was quite clearly absent in the Biden case. And certainly, according to the accusations in the Jack Smith indictment, it's very present in the Trump case. See, it's the what? Okay. Anyway, so see, they're not all in completely, folks. I think that they are very different, and the report even spelled this out. But Mexico, I mean, politically, how do you explain that? I don't buy that at all. Classified information. People classify so much. Also, now Jeffrey Toobin thinks, well, classified, let me decide what's classified and what's not. People take classified information all the time. Oh, good to know. I think legally this is a non-issue. The issue was Biden's age. That didn't seem very helpful. I don't see them defending or putting down the classified and the various labeling of documents so much when it's Trump, to that viewer's point about the double standard. Yeah, you don't see that as much, but Jeffrey Toobin twisting himself up into a pretzel to defend Biden on this and blame Trump. But we've got to take another short break. Stay with us. We'll be right back with Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV, Big Fox.
Race car drivers change lanes very fast, but with no outside mirrors. How come they don't crash? Introducing Angel View, the new wide-angle mirror that reduces blind spots. Angel View simply snaps over your car's rear view mirror, giving you a 160-degree view behind you. Ordinary rear view mirrors are small and flat, but Angel View has a huge mirror with curved glass. This convex shape allows you to see both blind spots with one glance. And with our Pro Edition special coating, it's anti-glare at night. Get your Angel View now for just $19.99 through this special offer. But wait, this may be your last chance to get Angel View at this low price. There is a strict limit of 2 Angel Views per order while supplies last. Order now.
Call 1-800-869-5346. That's 1-800-869-5346. Or visit getangelview.com. So call 1-800-869-5346 now.
Saturday at noon Eastern on Fox.
back with Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV Big Fox. I wanted to mention this real quickly, and we'll get back into the topics of the day. But I mentioned we had two guests this morning. Jim Griffin, we heard from earlier. Well, we've got a special presentation coming up on Big Fox on Friday, the 16th at 10:30 p.m. and then Sunday, the 18th at 11 a.m. And it's celebrating Black History Month. And our guests will be Georgia Verdier, Michael Joseph, who's a historian for the Tuskegee Airmen. We'll have a special look at the John W. Jones Museum. Well, I recorded our interview with Georgia Verdier the other day, and she mentioned an event coming up this Saturday. Well, you know, the special's not going to broadcast till next week, so it didn't make sense to play that next week, so I cut it out, and I told her, and I said, I want to play this so we can highlight your event, which is coming up on Saturday. So this is our quick talk, with Georgia Verdier. There we go.
And I just want to tell you about one one program we're having. You didn't ask me yet, but we're having a program at Friendship Baptist here in Corning on Saturday from 1 to 2:30, and it's a musical. And we haven't done this before. These it would be gospel music with roots in slavery, because it's Black History Month. And the slaves were creative. They couldn't strategize or come together and strategize, so they sent messages through songs and codes through song. So we're going to have a musical at Friendship, and we have two praise teams, and we have this dynamic lady from Ithaca, Sing Treats. I don't know if you heard her, but she's a songwriter and actress and a whole nine, and she can sing. They're going to be there. And we'll have a narrator who will interpret the message of the song. For instance, if somebody was saying, "Wade in the water," what messages were the slaves sending through that song? So we'll have a narrator who will tell the messages. And what we want young people to know, that regardless of circumstances, you can be creative, you can be dedicated, you can be resilient, and we want them to see that under the oppression of slavery, they were still creative enough to try to find freedom. And so we are having that program on Saturday, and we hope people listening will come. I'm excited about it because I think it's something different. Yeah.
Thank you to Georgia Verdier. There's information right there on your screen before we get back into the topics, because we do have to take our last break. I want to keep that up for just a second. We're going to run through what the media had to say and then jump to a couple other topics and then call it a day. Boy, we're going fast this morning on Frankly Speaking. I can't believe it. Thank you for all the comments. Keep them coming in. We'll be right back with Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV, Big Fox.
Our water's better tasting, it's better for the planet.
That's great, sir. Can I take your order?
Oh, number 3.
At Culligan, we get that most people don't think about water like we do, and that's okay. You see, when we install our drinking water and softening systems, we're thinking about filtering contaminants and the minerals that make water hard. So you can just think about softer, cleaner, better tasting water. At Culligan, we think about your water, so you don't have to.
Call today to schedule your free water test.
If you're on supplemental oxygen, heavy and awkward tanks are a burden. Now you can leave home and leave the tanks behind with Inogen One, the portable oxygen concentrator you can take almost anywhere.
With this little device, now I'm able to do the things that I've always loved. I just press the button here, and there's my oxygen.
The Inogen One is so small and light, you're free to leave the house without the hassles of an oxygen tank.
I could play golf again. I could go grocery shopping. I'm free again.
With the Inogen, I can handle my own oxygen. I can carry my own oxygen. I go anywhere with this. Look how small it is.
And right now, you can try an Inogen One for 30 days completely risk-free. Give us a call right now. If you qualify, we'll send you an Inogen system to use for 30 days completely risk-free. Your insurance may even cover your new Inogen One system.
If you're on oxygen, you need to be using an Inogen.
Call 1-800-929-7290. Again, that's 1-800-929-7290.
All right, let's get right back to it. We're broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio. I'm Frank Acom. This is Frankly Speaking. I never thought I'd see the day where you'd see a headline like that. Trump has his best day of 2024. Now, I know it is only February 9th, but as CNN, and again, just red flags going up here, just curious of some of the things that are going on. But what they say is the former president was handed a political gift. Of course, that's the issue with Biden's age in the special counsel report. Then the screw up at the press conference. Then he's on a glide path to the Republican nomination. Trump romped in the Nevada and U.S. Virgin Island caucuses Thursday night, continuing his unbeaten streak and making Nikki Haley's campaign feel futile. Yeah, but she says she's going to Super Tuesday, but boy. And I mean, she wasn't on the Nevada caucus, but she didn't even do good in the primary she was on, losing to any other candidate. And he appears poised for a win, and this is an important one, at the Supreme Court. Justices expressed deep skepticism that Colorado could declare him an insurrectionist and bar him from their election ballots. They're going to, if you think it's bad now with these kind of tactics, keeping him off the ballot, with that report coming out with Biden, whatever the future holds for Biden, it's all, it goes without saying, the closer we get to November, the worse it's going to get with the media going after Trump. Another comment, I'm trying to help Kamala Harris out on her book deal. The thought being from the viewer that she will, if Biden drops out of the race, she knowing that she cannot beat Trump, will say, I'm going to step aside for whatever reason, and then write a book, make millions on that book. And he says, I have the title for her. And that little girl was me. And that's a good reference. That was the reference, if you think about kind of the irony of that. Arguably the best part of her career was when she was on that debate where she's running for president. And people forget that she never even made it to the first primary. She's never got a single vote for president. People forget that part of it. But her best line was essentially calling her now boss racist. Very interesting. So CNN put together the takeaways from the special counsel report. CNN saying it's a painful report for Biden. Yeah. Her says evidence didn't support charging the president. In addition, Mr. Biden's memory, this will later buried in the last paragraph, Mr. Biden's memory was significantly limited, both during the recorded interviews with the ghostwriter. They go through that whole quote, but didn't come until much later. So see, they're not completely all in yet. Biden slams Her's depiction of him and misspeaks again. Of course, we mentioned that. Republicans get political gift from Her's report, and then they have to make sure that you know the differences with Trump's case. That's enough of that. We've got to look at all sides here because that's what we do on Frankly Speaking. Stephen Collinson, obviously no fan of Trump, but also works at CNN, says that Biden made it worse. He tried to lay to rest age concerns, but may have exasperated them. Biden appeared fired up and passionate, but at the same time, his angry demeanor, an event which appeared to quickly spin out of control with reporters shouting questions as he struggled to interrupt, may have ended up exasperating the very questions about his age that it was meant to dispel. So that's Stephen Collinson. It's been not a great day for the Biden campaign. I would not want to be a fly. Well, I would want to be a fly on the wall there. I wouldn't want to be working for that campaign. And even at CNN again, Peter Bergen saying, is Biden an out-to-lunch president? And he finishes by saying, this is why I find it interesting. On March 5th comes Super Tuesday, with 15 states voting for their delegates to be at the Republican convention. If Trump sweeps the table on Super Tuesday, all eyes will be on Biden's State of the Union 2 days later on March 7th. If Biden's performance is as shaky as it was when he talked to the special counsel, his assertion that he is the right guy to defeat Trump will likely be greeted with considerable skepticism. But if he pulls off another State of the Union as good as his last one, Biden is back in the fight. Back in the fight, meaning that he's out really at this point. Interesting take, number one. Number two, that he's still trying to make sure that everybody knows that Biden's fine. But the difference there, if I could, to Mr. Bergen, and I think he knows, speaking to the special counsel, it was off the cuff. It wasn't with a teleprompter. Not the same for the State of the Union, and it's when he goes away from the teleprompter, and it's not perfect on teleprompter, but that's when the real problem begins. So I mentioned, as we go through some other quick stories as we wrap up, probably ought to get my timer up here. Donald Trump wins the Nevada Republican caucus, as I mentioned, after being the only major candidate to participate, winning 97% of the vote an hour after polls closed. He also crushed Haley in the Virgin Island caucuses. Yes, a big story that we've just kind of glanced over this morning. The Supreme Court signaled yesterday, it is poised to back former President Donald Trump and fend off a blockbuster challenge to his eligibility to appear on Colorado's ballot, potentially by a wide margin. Yes, it's not going to be one of these. I even saw an article, I think it was from CNN again, saying, did they actually just make themselves legitimate again, the Supreme Court? Because we know that push from the mainstream media and the left. But it doesn't even look like it's just going to be the conservatives so that the media can fake outrage and say the deck is stacked and we should add more people to the Supreme Court. During more than 2 hours of arguments, Chief Justice John Roberts and the High Court's other conservative justices peppered the lawyers representing Trump's challengers with a series of questions that suggested they were seeking a way to side with the former president. But then they even admit later that it wasn't just the conservative, and you say conservative judges, I know they always use that, and they always highlight conservative judges, but look how often they've, I guess, strayed from that conservative line. Another sign that the court was leaning toward Trump's position, even some of the liberal justices posed difficult questions to the lawyers representing his challengers. So we'll obviously keep a close eye on that. One other thing that's kind of went, not unnoticed, but with all the hullabaloo about this report with Biden called Israel's military response in Gaza over the top. Unfortunately, I think after this report came out and questioning his mental stability, we could see a real 180 on Biden's stance on Israel from the very beginning. And the reason I say that is polls show that has been hurting him with Democrats, which is very unfortunate and speaks volumes about really what the Democrat Party is dealing with in certain factions, which is this dislike, for lack of a better word, of Israel. And Israel being able to protect themselves. Well, President Biden said he believes that Israel's military response to Gaza following Hamas's attack on the Jewish state has been, quote, over the top as he works to get much needed humanitarian aid for Palestinians, excuse me. I'm of the view, as you know, that the conduct of the response in the Gaza Strip has been over the top. And that hasn't always been his position, but he's going to start changing on a lot of things if he decides to stay in to get that base back with him. Because remember, we had that quote from Van Jones the other day where young people are starting to call Joe Biden Genocide Joe because they don't like his stance on Israel. So unfortunately, I think he's going to take a much weaker stance on that than we saw from October 7th. Oh, another, how are we doing on time? Not good. Democrat Senator Murphy, this is on Chris Murphy, excuse me. Did you see what he said on MSNBC's All In? They were talking about, the border bill and all that. He says, well, I mean, Chris, that's been a failed play for 20 years. So you are right that this has been the Democrat strategy for 30 years, maybe, and it has failed to deliver for the people we care about the most, the undocumented Americans that are in this country. So what Democrat Senator Chris Murphy is saying is the people that they care about the most are undocumented Americans in this country. That's his words, not mine, just bringing that to you. We are out of time for today's edition of Frankly Speaking. Thank you to Jim Griffin for being on the program. Also, thank you to Georgia Verdier for being on the program. We're going to have a very busy week next week, as you can imagine. So tune in every weekday morning, starting at 7 for Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV, Big Fox. And another big thank you for all these great comments throughout the program. We will see you bright and early on Monday morning.
Getting aerial video for a commercial used to be extremely expensive, but not anymore. WYDC TV Big Fox now offers the Twin Tiers amazing aerial video for your business. We do it with our state